Hi, this is Matthew, back again to do another Rolling Stones album review. We're in 1997 now with Bridges to Babylon, which is a far more eclectic album than they've really ever had up to this point. There's still some Keith Richards, Mick Jagger tension. They did enough to be able to get the songs written and recorded, but they weren't always, they were always separate. So there was some tension going on still with those two. And I know Charlie Watts relieved it by bringing in another guy in percussion he can do stuff with. And lots of guest musicians on here. They brought in several other worldwide producers to come in and help with the album. So a bunch of people involved with this particular release. I remember Saint of Me, I think is the one I remember on VH1. For sure, in 97. First new Rolling Stones album that I knew about was this one. I knew about them, of course, but I didn't, as far as new albums, I didn't know they'd had anything before that. So, this was the first new Stones stuff I ever heard. I think I've heard, has anybody seen My Baby also? I think I have. But, yeah, really interesting album. Lots of cool sounds going on. There's some sampling going on even. So, yeah, some different instruments being used in places. I swear the older Keith Richards gets, the better he sounds. He does some really nice vocal work. 3 tracks, actually, Keith gets to do vocals on. So, and I'll go over a couple of live albums and a compilation. The only compilation I own on CD, in fact, is the one I'll be talking about here. And some finally straightening out of label issues with their catalog that I've talked about endlessly will now get resolved, finally, for the first time ever, will be resolved because of record label mergers that go on in between here. We'll do the tracks for Bridges to Babylon, though. There it is. We have. It was also put out. It was a CD and a double EP. I assume there was a tape version of this. That would have been cool to have heard. There's some interesting drums on here. I like. They're not too trash canny. They've been a little bit trash canny lately, but there's not quite what I consider trash can sounds. You know, the clangy, clang, clang, clang sounds that. That's the top head of the snare. Usually you want to mix of the two. Some people don't tend to do that, but there are drums that make that sound. Like the band 311 is famous for that, but I think he has drums designed to make that sound. This is just snare sound, I think. I don't know, I wasn't in the sessions. I don't know. I have no idea. But we start out with Flip the Switch. Anybody seen My Baby? That's the big hit that you might recall if you have heard anything from this album. Low Down. Already Over Me. Gunface. That's the name of it. You Don't Have to Mean It. Out of Control. That was a minor single. Saint of Me is the one I remember, so I really like that one. But I like the whole thing. I just like the whole album in general. It's very well done. Very different, very interesting. Might as well get juiced. It's the name of the track. Always Suffering. Followed by Too Tight, and then Thief in the Night. How Can I Stop? Which I know that's a Keith Richards, and there's 2 other ones. I forget which ones they are right now, but we'll get that in a second. Our People. Mick Jagger, lead vocals. 6, 12, and 13 are the Richards ones. Guitar and harmonica and keyboards. And guitar and wah-wah, pedal and the shaker acoustic guitar. Keith Richards guitar and backing vocals, and of course the lead on those other tracks we already mentioned. Acoustic guitar, piano, And some hand clapping. Ronnie Wood guitar, slide guitar, pedal steel guitar again, and the it says dobro. And baritone guitar. There's a baritone guitar. I didn't know that. Cool. That's what Ronnie Wood played. Charlie Watts on drums and backing vocals. Our bass is going to be played by 9 different people on this album, which we'll get to in just a moment. Additional musicians, we have Daryl Jones on bass and backing vocals. Yeah, he's the normal bass guy, but we have some other bass players on here. According to our Wikipedia article, anyway. Michelle D'Angelo, bass on track 8. Danny Saber on bass on 5, 7, and guitar. And clavinet and he's played bass, guitar, keyboards, clavinet, and whatever reality manipulations are. Jeff Sarley on bass and acoustic bass. That's kind of cool. Don Was on bass and Wurlitzer piano and keyboards. He's been involved with some other albums lately. Blondie Chaplin also bass and backing vocals and shaker and maracas and a piano and tambourine. Awesome, I love tambourines. Pierre de Beauport bass and Wurlitzer piano and Fender Rhodes piano. I believe he was on the last album, I think. Maybe not. Jamie Muhabarak, bass keyboards. Doug Wimmish, backing vocals. Waddy Watchell, electric guitar and acoustic guitar. And backing vocals. Clinton Clifford, piano. Hammond V3 organ. And Billy Preston's on organ still, because he's still around. He has not passed, thank goodness. He's still here on some organ tracks, so if you want to hear some Billy Preston organ, you can get your chance to on here. He's pretty easy to spot. He's kind of has a distinctive style. I've noticed. I can tell when he's playing. There's so many people I couldn't tell on this, but he is definitely here. So keep an ear out for Billy Preston. Ben Montech here in C3 organ, keyboards, pianos, keyboards, and him V3 organ. Darryl Leonard was on trumpet. There's some horns are back on here. Wayne Shorter on soprano sax. Yes, that Wayne Shorter. The well-known jazz saxophonist is on here. I think I know where that is. Yeah, on the Keith Richards track, there's a really jazzy thing near the end. There's some neat drums on here for Charlie Watts and some neat cymbals going on. There's a very jazzy thing at the end. That's him playing sax. Okay, that's totally awesome. Joseph Blett, baritone saxophone and saxophone. Bismarcky rapping. Yeah, there's a little bit of rapping. It's like a pitch down thing. Bernard Fowler backing vocals again. Jim Kettler percussion. And Shaker's backing vocals. Charlie Watts worked with him on a lot of tracks, I think. Kenny Aronoff just says bucket. I'm not sure how you play with sticks or something. Does anybody know what that refers to? Production people, we have the Glimmer Twins, of course, is the Rolling Stones production name. Jagger and Richards. Don Was production again. It's been available in the last couple albums. The Dust Brothers doing production work. They're pretty well known. I forget what all they've done, but I recognize that name. Also, Rob Fraboni, production and mixing and engineering, was brought in to do some stuff. Danny Saber, who also played the bass, if you recall. Pierre de Beauport, one of our other bass players, did some production. Tom Lord Dalch, mixing. John Exvalatus, I'm not sure, mixing. Wally Gadgel mixing. Bob Claremont mixing. He's done some other mastering and stuff on previous stuff, so he's here again. Stefan Sackmeister. Art direction and design. I assume it's Stefan. Joel G. Carlson design. Max Vagical. I'm not sure. Photography. Kevin Murphy of the illustrations. Gerard Hallen, Floating Company, illustration. Well, Ayer's illustration, and that is it for Bridges to Babylon. The next year, 98, we had a live album of some tour stops from this album. So we'll go to Wikipedia's article on it. It's called No Security. Trying to do things that they've never done on live albums before. Intro. This is not streaming. It's out of. They didn't. When Universal acquired all of their catalogs, yes, Universal. So the ABCO and their stuff with Rolling Stones Records is now under Universal at some point here. They did not reissue this album. You Got Me Rocking. From the Amsterdam Arena. Give Me Shelter is from the MVC 10 spot. I forget where that was. Flip the Switch, Amsterdam Arena. Memory Hotel, the Amsterdam Arena again. Korea, the TWA Dome in St. Louis, which I think has been renamed. But Taj Mahal and Ed Davis. I forget what that arena is now. Does anyone know what that's called now? I've never been to it, so I don't know. Saint of Me is from River Plate Stadium in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where the River Plate soccer team, I assume, plays their matches, if they still do. It'd be almost 30 years ago. I'm not sure if they still play their matches there. They might. Doesn't even know any River Plate Argentina fans? There's a few River Plate teams, so. Waiting on a Friend at the DWA Dome in St. Louis. For anyone who cares, that was on December 12th of 97, if there's anybody from St. Louis locally that listens to these, watches these, I guess. Is it still called that? Sister Morphine, Amsterdam Arena. Live With Me in Amsterdam, again in Holland. Netherlands. Respectable is also Amsterdam. I Just Want to Make Love to You is Willie Dixon from Amsterdam. He did come and play. That is his song they covered years ago, so he's, I think he plays this track with them. Thief of the Ninth is a Nuremberg, Germany gig in 98. The Last Time is, of course, the TWA St. Louis gig. Out of Control, River Plate in Argentina again. Oh, I Just Want to Make Love to You is a bonus track on the Japanese edition. I don't know because it's not streaming and I can't check it. Grr. Personnel, Mick Jagger, lead vocals, harmonica, and guitar. Keith Richards on guitar and vocals. Ronnie Wood, electric and slide and lap guitars. Charlie Watts on drums. Additional people. Daryl Jones on bass guitar and backing vocals. Chuck Leavell on keyboards and backing vocals. Pierre de Beauport words for electric piano. He's on Thief in the Night. Bobby Keys is back on sax. He's a regular, it seems. Andy Snitcher saxophone and keyboards. Kent Smith trumpet. Michael Davis on trombone. Go Michael Davis. Brenner Feller backing vocals and percussion. I played trombone, so yeah. I like horns anyway. Luther Fisher is back on backing vocals. Barney Chaplin backing vocals and percussion. No bass here, but he's on this one of these gigs. Lee Wood backing vocals. Thief of the Night is where Lee Wood is. Tony Starbuck Shaker on Out of Control. Special guests, we had Dave Matthews on Memory Motel, which was in Amsterdam, I recall. I need to tell Meredith about that. I don't know if we can find this track for her to hear, because she's a huge Dave Matthews Band fan. I don't know if I can get her to play that for her or not. Taj Mahal on vocals on the Karina. Joshua Redman on saxophone, Waiting on a Friend. And that is all of our people. Just some of the gig information, which is not as pertinent to me. But yeah, there's some St. Louis stuff on here for anybody locally, regionally to me here in Springfield. Then we jump to 2002 for the 40 Licks collection, which I own. I don't know where my copy is. It's in one of my CD cases. I know where it is, but I haven't played it in a long time. This is where we get the merging of all the material, the pre-70 and post-70 work. No more does it owned exclusively by Alan Klein and that company, Abco. It's all merged with Universal. Universal gets them, and I guess the Virgin stuff, or the stuff with Virgin at this point. But that is all fixed and sorted out, and now we can have collections of all their material in one set. Disc 1 is the pre-70 stuff, 2 is post. But no particular order. Mono where you would expect it, stereo where you would expect it. No interesting, cool differences that I could tell, having not played that collection in ages. We start out with disc 1 with Street Fighting Man. Give Me Shelter is next. Can't Get No Satisfaction. The Last Time. And yeah, everything's in mono where you'd expect it. Except for 2. Jumpin' Jack Flash. You can always get what you want. 19th with Nervous Breakdown, of course, is still mono. Under My Thumb is mono, sadly, not the stereo version. I don't know why, but it's not. Not Fade Away, of course, has never been in stereo. Have you seen your Mother Baby Standing in the Shadow? I think that was mono too. I think. Sympathy for the Devil. Mother's Little Helper is still mono. She's a Rainbow is the radio edit. I think that was in stereo. Get Off of My Cloud is mono, sadly. So is Satisfaction. It's still mono. Wild Horses. Ruby Tuesday is mono, sadly. I don't know why. It shouldn't be, but it is. Painted Black is also mono, which is weird. I want the stereo version. Honky Tonk Women. It's all over now. It's mono, I think. Stereo. I think it's stereo, for sure. Let's Spend the Night Together was mono, which is weird. Disc 2 then goes to Start Me Up. Brown Sugar. Miss You is the 7-inch single remix edited version of it, apparently. I've never noticed a difference. But okay. Beast of Burden was the single edit, which I didn't notice a difference there either, but Don't Stop is a new track, which is, I really like that one. That's a new track. Happy, the Keith Richards classic. Angie's next. You Got Me Rocking. Of course, this album is streamable, by the way. I guess where there are new mixes, they've included those instead of the original. So you'll see like 2009 edits and versions and things. That's why. Oh yeah, because that was from Voodoo Lounge. Shattered. Fool to Cry, the radio edit of It. Love is Strong, which is from Voodoo Lounge, of course. Mixed Emotions, radio edit. That's from Steel Wheels. Kiss to Your Love, that is totally a new track for this release. Anybody See My Baby is, of course, from Bridges of Babylon. We just talked about it. Stealing My Heart is a new track for this 2002 release. Tumbling Dice. Undercover of the Night. Emotional Rescue, the radio edit of that one. Something Rock and Roll, but I Like It, the radio edit of that. Losing My Touch is a new track. Keith Richards on vocals, of course. And I believe our Don't Stop, let me double check. No, Don't Stop, I think it's new as well. To this. Where'd you go? Yes, it is. I thought so. Yes, you get 4 new tracks to this release that have not been, are not on anything after this either that I know of. Yeah, I'm not going to do personnel because it's all the same people that we've kind of seen before. And then in 04, I believe it was, there was Live Licks. That was, they did a tour on 40 Licks and they called it Live Licks. Not streamable anywhere, which is unfortunate. It is not, but we can look at the tracks anyway. It's a multi-disc one. I think 2 discs. Brown Sugar, A Street Fighting Man, Paint It Black. You Can't Always Get What You Want. Start Me Up. Something Rock and Roll, but I Like It. Angie. Honky Tonk Women. Sheryl Crow is on vocals here. So go check that out if you're a Sheryl Crow fan. That'd be kind of cool to hear. But again, it's not streamable on Apple Music at least. I can't find it. Happy. If anybody can, let me know. Give Me Shelter. I Can't Get No Satisfaction, of course. Disc 2. Neighbors. I don't know that track. I don't remember that track at least. Monkey Man. Rocks Off. I think this is more kind of B-sidey, lesser known material on this disc. Can't You Hear Me Knocking? I love that track. That's How Strong My Love Is. Otis Redding. The Nearness of You. Yeah, definitely some digs back into the catalog here. Beast of Burden. When the Whip Comes Down. Rock Me Baby. Yeah, it's B.B. King. I thought it was. I love B.B. King's version of that. You Don't Have to Mean It. Worried About You. Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. That is with Solomon Burke, who, of course, wrote that anyway and sang it originally. He's, again, on this one. Same with No Security, but it's not a bonus track here. It's actually on the disc, I believe. There's a Japanese edition bonus track. If You Can't Rock Me. And that is it. Personnel on this tour, I guess we can see if anyone's changed. Mick Jagger on lead vocals, harmonica, and a guitar, and percussion. Worried About You, keyboards. Keith Richards, guitars, backing vocals, lead vocals. On 3 tracks there. The Nearest of You, You Don't Have to Mean It, are all Keith. Ron Wood on guitars and piano. Charlie Watts on drums. Additional people, Daryl Jones, bass guitar again. Chuck Leavell on keyboards, backing vocals. Brian Feller, backing vocals, percussion, and keyboards. Lisa Fischer's back on backing vocals and percussion. Bonnie Chaplin, backing vocals, percussion, and acoustic guitar. A lot of the same people from the other one. Electric guitar, too, he played. Bobby Keys on sax again. Ian Sister on saxophone and keyboards. He's back. Nico Davis back on trombone. Ken Smith back on trumpet. Special guest people. Solomon Burke on duet, of course, with Everybody Needs Somebody to Love, of course. Sheryl Crow is on Honky Tonk Women. And that is it. Just a smattering of other releases there. We'll move to 2005 to go with A Bigger Bang. And I'm going to cover some of the single and I think another box set release that I could find in the interim, because we're going to go from 2005 to 2016 for the album after that. And there's like 20 bajillion live albums that I've seen listings on Wikipedia for. I'm not going to go through all of those. It's just random gigs from all over the place, and I'll never get done if I do that. So I'm going to jump. I'll do a bigger bang next time and look at the singles collections. I think there's another box or two I can look at in between there and see what's going on, if there's anything interesting. But yeah, 2005 is next with A Bigger Bang is what it's called, which I do remember single on and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to check that out 20 years out from it, because there's a kind of a political track. I didn't buy this album because it was political, and my views have changed in 20 years, and I think I'll be okay with it now. We'll see. I should be okay with it, but 20 years have gone since I last thought about the track in question, so I'll find out when I listen to it in full, because I never got to do that. I just did little samples. But we'll check out A Bigger Bang next time, and I will see you guys in another video.